join us.
Hey guys, what is up? It is your man Zentai Fit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I just want to give my apologies. I feel like, with my channel and these reviews for the Power Ranger comics, I haven't been as consistent as I, had hoped I would be with catching up, because mind you, there's a couple of different things going on, with the Turtles and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers crossover. You also have Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers, which is going to be coming to an end soon. And then you have the main timeline of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So those three different things going on with the issues. And, I try my best to review them all. And sometimes I don't get them out as quick as I like to, but here we are today. Honestly, for me personally, I feel like, and this is just me speaking personally, I feel like there's been this, this graph with, Power Rangers, where I feel like, it has its high, and then, it kind of drops down here, and then something will happen, within the fandom, within the brand, where it'll spike back up, come convention time or stuff like that. Where we get some new groundbreaking news about a character or announcement, you know what I mean? And I feel like right now, for me, I'm always going to be a Power Ranger fan. Don't worry. Always. But I feel like for me personally, I feel like, it's been, I've had my high and, I'm not at a low, but it's just kind of in this, medium area where it's it's still exciting. It's always going to be exciting. It's always going to be life-giving, because that's a brand that I will forever be a lifelong fan of. But I feel like it goes through these moments, for me personally, where, I have these exponential highs, and then, it drops down, and it's just kind of we're just kind of chilling here with the excitement of everything Power Rangers. So, to say the least, I feel like that's kind of why, I've been, not as consistent with getting some of these reviews out as quick as I hope, because, I'm man, I got other stuff that I'm working on, different fan films, constantly staying busy with, the content creating. But just me personally, that's something that I've been wanting to talk about, is that's something that I feel, that I felt with the brand. So, getting my personal feelings out of the way, let's get into this comic book review. So you guys should know by now, I review my comic book reviews in 3 different criteria: the good, the bad, and the morphin. Starting off with the good in this comic, I really, it grew on me, first of all, because I didn't really care for it at first. But as I look back on it, I really do like what they did with Rita Repulsa. So, during this time, Lord Zedd, he's kind of the main villain, the main bad guy, dominating the Earth and, messing with the Power Rangers. And Rita Repulsa, she was contained, in that little, containment pocket dimension or whatever by Zordon. And what we learn is, to give her grace, to give her mercy, Zordon allows her to, basically, she's encountering this entity named Moment within this containment, in this pocket dimension, where literally she is experiencing thousands of scenarios of where she thinks she's living somebody else's life. So, she's wait, I'm Rita Repulsa. She loses her memory for a second, and then she wakes up and she's some kid or some teenager, and she literally lives an entire lifetime, and then something tragic happens, at the end, of her life, once she's lived a very happy life, and something tragic happens, and the Earth, explodes, some monster comes and destroys it. And, at first, I really wasn't for it. I was like, man, this is weird, but I get it, and I really liked it, and I'll tell you why. It's just interesting to see that done with a villain, because now Rita Repulsa, she's getting the perspective of what it feels like from the exterior perspective, when she has invaded thousands of worlds and has destroyed so many people, so many aliens, and, conquered all these worlds, because that's her duty, that's her pleasure, that's her joy. But now she's experiencing the external effects, what that feels like, to the people, and, how it impacted them. And it's crazy because this entity Moment says, there's so many, I can't even remember the number, but there's thousands of these scenarios that she gets to live through. And to give you an example, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, think of like, you know, when Vegeta and Goku went into the hyperbolic time chamber, you know, 1 hour or something in the hyperbolic time chamber in Dragon Ball Z is like 3 years, you know. So imagine that being in the pocket dimension and you're living all of these different lives, you know, and you're experiencing like a happy life, and then something tragic happens and your whole world is destroyed. But she's experiencing this thousands of times, which is just crazy, which seems like hell, you know what I mean? That's pretty damn crazy, but it's a lesson, you know, to be learned. And I thought that that was really cool how they're doing that with Rita. That's something that I took away as, you know, being really good within this comic. And you also see it with, you know, like her minions, her villains, Goldar, Babu, Squat, Finster, you know, in a different perspective with them, where they're always the losers. They're always the ones who, you know, suffer, and they have turmoil. That's their destiny. But in this scenario, they like get to experience victory. They get to experience love. They get to experience what it means to win, in a sense. So it's just really interesting with them being in this pocket dimension. I think it shed a different light on the villains particularly. Getting into the bad of the comic, you know, I would just have to say the art style was a little bit different for me, and it took me by surprise. And, you know, that's probably intentional. That was probably purposeful, because, you know, a lot of this is taking place in a pocket dimension. So, of course, you know, things are going to look a little bit different. It just took me by surprise, you know, even though I know it's playing on the, you know, psyche somewhat with the mind and, you know, Rita's interpretation of things. I just thought that, you know, all these different characters and all this other stuff, I wasn't feeling it as much, you know what I mean? That's just me. And, you know, I'm big into the colors and the art aspect, so that was something that I was just like, it's kind of meh to me, you know what I mean? So that was one thing I would say was, if I could pull out anything that's bad in this comic, that would be it. It's just, I feel like the design and the colors were just distinctively different from what I'm used to say the least. And now getting into our last criteria in this comic, which we'll be talking about the Morphin. You know, it's not really a specific thing that I'm going to pull out and say this is what I found more phenomenal about this issue, because overall I really did enjoy it. And like I said, what they're doing with Rita, I think is interesting and a really cool lesson, you know, for the villain particularly. What I find more phenomenal about it is I'm hoping to see the after effects, like what happens after she goes through all of these thousands of scenarios. What happens to her mentally? What happens to her decision making? What happens to, you know, some of the stuff that we know about, like when she married Lord Zed? Will they do some twist on that? Like, what's the reasoning more so behind that? What happens when she does get out of this containment? Like, is she going to be more empathetic? You know, will she really understand the concept of empathy? Does that change, you know, Rita's persona? You know, that's what I find more phenomenal, is the possibilities of what could happen after, you know, this particular issue. So that's my thoughts. You know, I did enjoy it overall. You know, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, for real. In the comments, let me know what you guys think, like what's to come after, you know, this particular issue. Now to get into my lightning rating. For this comic, I did enjoy it, but to get into my lightning bolt rating, I give this comic book a 3 out of 5 lightning bolts. That's still pretty high. That's not terribly low. But again, you know, I enjoyed it. I understand the lesson that's being taught with Rita Repulsa, and I think that that is something that hits home, and I think that that's something that's really the meat within this comic. You know, the design and the artwork, that sort of took me by surprise. It just felt a little absent from what I'm used to. But again, depending on your perspective, maybe that is purposeful and what the writers and the creative team wanted to do based on the story that's being told. So I give it a 3 out of 5 lightning bolts. Overall, I still did enjoy the book, and I look forward to seeing what happens next. Guys, if you liked this video, if you enjoyed my review, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. And if you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, because I got videos coming out every week. All right? I do have videos coming out every week. Don't play me like that. Y'all know what's up. All right? I got videos coming out. I know I've been slow to get this review out, but, you know, look, man, I got a 6-month-old daughter. You know, I'll be working. I got all these videos. I got fan films I'm working. It's crazy. It's crazy out here in these streets, man. You know what I'm saying? So just subscribe to support your man, and that'll make things go a lot faster. You know what I'm saying? So subscribe and share the love, And yeah, I appreciate all the love, man. For real, for real, for real. Until the next video, I will see you guys then. Peace.